Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Whenever you are watching this week's Notre Dame Six Pack or listening to the podcast of this, really appreciate you for making us a part of your day. I'm Mike Singer. With me, Blue and Gold beat writers Jack Soble and Tyler Horka. And this show, we have 6 Notre Dame football topics. We'll take 6 minutes to discuss each of them. And this show is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with top brands with Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. 8 Academy stores across the state of Indiana, including a new one that opened up last week in Mishawaka. Fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Boys, I do trust that you are well, so we're going to go ahead and dive into this week's 6-pack. If I can remember how to host a show, and there it is. I know you both rewatched the Boise State game. You tweeted about it all week. Jack, what really stood out to you in a rewatch in that contest?
Less concerned and probably happier with the offensive line than I was right after the game. I was a little iffy on some of the tackles for loss and run stuffs that Boise had, but after the game, nice comment, Ryan. After rewatching the game, it's like you really get what Marcus Freeman's talking about with like this was a really aggressive and really good Boise State defensive front that like the way they play, they were always going to have some of those, but it's the give and take, right? If your linebackers are as aggressive as they were, you're going to have some run stuff, but you're also going to have some of the massive holes that opened up for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. And I thought Notre Dame in general, like you're not going to be perfect against those guys. But in general, it was a pretty good game by the Notre Dame offensive line against those guys. So I'm really not concerned about the offense. Like again, it wasn't one thing that prevented them from scoring more than 28 points. It was a 4th down stop here. It was a missed throw there. It was some penalties here. If you just clean some stuff up, I think they'll be totally fine.
Yeah, sticking with the offensive line, it's almost like they have to be perfect to impress you, because I think CJ Carr said something in the post-game press conference that kind of sticks to the theme of what this team is right now. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price are so good. They make guys miss. Like the offensive line can do nothing to make themselves look good on those plays where Jadarian Price is breaking 5 tackles to get into the end zone. That when you notice, okay, this wasn't blocked up well, you kind of get on the offensive line and say, hey, what are you doing? You got these special guys, like pave a path for them. I think they're paving enough of a path. And then on the flip side of the other thing that they have to do, protect CJ Carr. I've been saying it for a long time now. They have done phenomenally in that. And I think CJ Carr is what he is in part because these guys are blocking so well for him. Like if he was running around back there for his life, and that instills a little bit of doubt. And I think on the other side of that, he has so much confidence right now because he knows, aside from maybe one play a game, he got smacked in this game. And I think I put that out there on social media to Mike's point, but he still made a play on that throw. And you go back to the fumble against Purdue. It's like, okay, Anthony Knapp had one bad rep. That's going to happen. But for the most part, it's being blocked up well for him to do his thing, and he's accurate as heck. I'm so impressed watching him throw the ball every week. And then, Jack, like I said, I'm impressed watching these guys run the ball every week too. So there's 3 minutes on the offense and a lot of good things, which is crazy because everyone's like, oh my gosh, they only scored 28 points. No, guys, it was a really good offensive game. Again, they just got to clean up some of those execution stuff that they left points on the field with.
I do want to go into some specifics with the offensive line. I've been extremely impressed with Ashton Craig every week. It seems like every week I'm posting a clip of him. He's been phenomenal. The zone blocking, the duo blocking, the way he gets the angles on those linebackers and clears some holes, it's pretty exceptional. It also seems like every week the left side of the line, Anthony Knapp and Billy Strouth clears a hole for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price that's a mile wide. It's pretty exceptional to watch. To be honest, like, I know this is going to be a hot take, but aside from that one rep against Miami and that one rep against what's his face, Purdue, where he didn't turn his shoulders enough, like I've been more impressed with Anthony Knapp than Emil Wagner so far this season at tackle. I've been impressed with Wagner too, but man, the way Knapp is run blocking it, and the way, like, when he does turn his shoulders in time, the way he locks up on edge rushers, it's a really valuable asset.
With Wagner, it's kind of been like last season as well, where he's not overly flashy. It's like, oh my gosh, look what Emil Wagner did on this play. You're just not noticing him as much because he's solid. He's just a really solid player, which is nice for Notre Dame to have. Defensively, I kind of keyed in on that for blueandgold.com on my rewatch article. And Jack, I don't know about you, but I'm getting more and more impressed with the way that like the guys who are supposed to show up are showing up consistently. And we missed it with Leonard Moore because we didn't get to see him play for 2 games. But he comes back, gets the 2 picks, gets the forced fumble. Like, I know Boise State falls on that, but that was a really impressive play. Like, Leonard Moore can do it all. I think Kingston Viliamu Asa, Boubacar Traore, the more that you can kind of get those guys involved and just kind of let them go and be disruptors, they are awesome. Adon Schuler had a nice downhill tackle. Like, I'm seeing a lot more comfort maybe and confidence that comes with that, with these guys that are able to just go out there and kind of let it rip. Like, you let it rip on offense, and those offenses that do that are better for it, but you can let it rip on defense too. And I think Notre Dame is doing more of that lately.
Defensively, I still think they're stunning too much, especially with a guy like Traore. I think you can't just stunt him on or have him loop around 5 people on passing downs. Like, just let him go. But I'm really impressed with Traore. I continue to be. He is this close to really, really breaking out. He's right there. He is close. He's, if anything, a better run defender than a pass rusher right now, which is exceptional because he's a really good pass rusher. But the way he's defending the run right now is pretty phenomenal. I continue to be really impressed with Gabriel Rubio. I think he's been Notre Dame's best defensive tackle the last few weeks. I'm not sure it's been particularly close because he is constantly disruptive. He's constantly holding his own against interior blockers. I really don't know what Notre Dame was seeing in fall camp to have him come off the bench in week 1, but they corrected that mistake early.
100% agree with you there.
See, we've gotten that comment a couple of times, like, and I'm self-conscious about it. I'm not gonna say 100% anymore.
Well, I just did on purpose, guys. The defense is the talking point in every show, and it's keeps looking better and better each week. I feel like since the Purdue game. I mean, since the A&M game, really, but
since the Purdue game, it was worse against Purdue than A&M, if anything.
Second half Purdue game.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was bad in the first half, obviously, but anyways, yeah, is this improvement real? Any fool's gold here, Jack?
I think it's real. I think we really saw the difference between having Leonard Moore and not having Leonard Moore this week. I think it was Freeman who said, like, it's not just Moore's play, it's the confidence he gives the rest of the guys by having him on the field. Like, the way he's going to shut down his half of the field. And I mean, as we get towards USC has one of the best receivers in the country right now. If there was ever a week to have him shadow the opponent's best receiver, that's going to be it. But having him back, the defensive line playing better against a couple good offensive lines, like, it's Miami and A&M are still the best 2 offensive lines that Notre Dame has seen so far, but A&M and Arkansas and Boise State, certainly no pushovers. I think they're top third of the country at least as far as offensive line play. So I've been impressed with the way they've improved. The secondary looks different. They're playing faster. The linebackers are playing faster. The linebackers had their best game of the season by far against Boise State, and it's not like I get it. They're playing worse teams than A&M Miami, but it's what you're seeing them do that you didn't see against A&M Miami. And I know the opponent has a lot to do with it, but there are some opponent independent things that I think they're doing a lot better.
Yeah, there's some personnel tweaks, obviously, too. Like Tay Johnson, I know he was the darling of fall camp, but you're still like, all right, we need Jalen Stroman out there because he's the veteran, and you saw him play against Miami and Texas A&M, and against the pass, it didn't go so well. I think if Tay Johnson plays a large majority of those football games, maybe there's a different result. I don't know how much one player makes up one outcome, but Notre Dame lost those games by a combined 4 points. So, like, your best players have to be on the field. And I think Tay Johnson is one of the best, most talented players that Notre Dame has. You're seeing him play a lot of football, and Notre Dame's better for it. Leonard Moore comes in and plays for the first time in 2 games. It's no coincidence that Notre Dame probably has its best defensive game of the season, limiting Boise State to 7 points. That's an offense that was averaging 38 points per game. And I get it, they weren't playing Notre Dame, but like, there's some talent over there.
They also weren't playing no one. Like, they scored 35 on Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, that's Arkansas, right? I was talking
Wait,
about
who are you talking about?
I was talking about Boise State.
Okay, Boise
So
State.
they're averaging 38 points a game. Arkansas was probably also averaging. I think Arkansas was averaging more than that, like 40 points a game. So
No, they were. Sorry, I got confused.
yeah, like they're limiting teams to way less than what they had been doing previously, and that's a sign of a real defensive improvement. If you want to look at the little rundown menu there and like what we're discussing right now, yeah, this is real. It had to get real though, because like the hole that they were facing was so real. Like the conversations that we were having coming out of Texas A&M at 0-2, and even coming out of Purdue at 1-2 with 30 points given up to the Boilermakers, like there was serious signs of concern. All of that was real, but it's been addressed. Marcus Freeman is obviously more involved with the defense. He's been he's praised Chris Ash for everything that he's done in the wake of the 0-2 start. So I think there's I always talked about like the synergy and the cohesiveness that Marcus Freeman had with Al Golden. Like you could feel it. It was real. They were always on the same page. I'm not so sure that Freeman and Ash were on the same page in those first 2 games because they were like feeling each other out. They didn't know how to coach with each other at that point in time. I think you're getting more comfortability between those two, and it's showing up in the games. Like there's a little bit more of a cohesion there that you saw with Freeman and Golden. Now you're seeing it with Freeman and Ash.
To your point, like the conspiracy theorists who think Freeman's calling the defense right now are wrong.
Yeah.
But he definitely has exerted some influence to say like, hey man, let's simplify this stuff a little bit. And you could easily see that against Arkansas and Boise State. I think like the way Freeman put it was they're not necessarily calling different stuff, but they're simplifying the calls. They're not as many checks. There's not as many variations of each call. Also, Tyler, like you mentioned, the personnel changes, elevating Kingston Viliamasa snaps has been really good. They've like we talked about with Rubio, they figured stuff out along the defensive line. The backup nickel situation, obviously, with Devontae Smith out, Dallas Golden's playing better than Carson Hobbs was, and I think we'll have some questions next year on evaluation of their own personnel in fall camp, but that's a question for, like I said, next year. But what matters now is that they figured it out, and they're playing better. They're playing a lot better, and like you can throw out all the numbers you want, but you watch the games, they look different. That's the most important thing right now by far.
And the fun thing is, like NC State is not an inept offensive team. Like they'll bring a really good quarterback in here and some weapons for CJ Bailey to throw the ball to. Running back is really good with Hollywood Smothers. We're going to talk about all of this in the next segment, but like even beyond that, it's USC, man. It's Jaden Mayava, who, if CJ Carr, it's really fun to look at where his name is in all the national rankings. Like you can go to the passer page and be like, oh my gosh, there's Carr. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, there's Mayava. He's right up there too, even ahead of Carr and some of those more important ones. So if this Notre Dame defensive improvement is real, then it's going to manifest itself in the next 2 games before the bye week, because these are real offenses that are coming to South Bend. It's nice that you get them on your home field, but like they're not going to hold both of these next 2 teams to 7 points. Like, let's just be honest about that.
Maybe not. Yeah, definitely not with USC, but NC State, I don't know, Jack, like how much better is NC State than like Boise State or Arkansas? Like how do you kind of stack these teams up?
Offensively, I didn't see Boise State as a better offensive team than Arkansas. I think Arkansas is a much better offensive team than either they looked against Notre Dame or Notre Dame made them look. But they're solid. They got a good quarterback running back duo. They have a number 1 receiver. I forget what his name is. They have a number 1 tight end, Justin Jolly, who that's a decent pairing of pass catchers that they have. Their offensive line has played well. Given Hollywood Smothers numbers, he's averaging close to 7 yards per carry, and he can't do that without a good offensive line. What set them back offensively? I asked our own with the Wolfpacker, Noah Fleischman, earlier today, or yesterday. I published a story today, but I asked him yesterday. You have a lot of good personnel pieces on offense, but they're 45th in scoring. What gives, basically? And he said, yeah, it's a fair question. It's penalties and, the occasional young quarterback mistake from CJ Bailey that sets them back. So putting them behind the chains is big. They really want to ride Smothers. He has 100 carries this season, and only 4 came in their last game against Campbell. So in those first 5 games, do I have that math right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so his first 5 games, he was averaging close to 20 carries a game. So they want to ride him a ton offensively, and setting them behind the chains and not allowing them to do that is going to be big.
He's got 21 receptions too, so they'll get him involved in the passing game. You mentioned that a tight end, I believe, is leading them in all of their important passing statistics. 28 catches, 256 yards, 3 touchdowns. So
yeah, he was on the all-opponent team preseason.
Yeah. It kind of feels the same as the Arkansas and Boise game, though. It's like you talk about all this offensive talent that this team coming in has, but Notre Dame probably should be able to impose its will. And I talk about that a lot from the other side of the ball. Like NC State, they have a really good linebacker, Caden Fordham, who's got almost 60 tackles this year already, 5.5 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks. So like he's all over the place. They played without their second best linebacker last week, and Sean Brown. Did you talk to Noah about Sean Brown by chance, Jack?
Linebackers didn't really come up because that's not the concern on defense.
Okay. But like they played without him. I'm thinking that was maybe to get him prepped for the Notre Dame game, because I don't know. I just think that NC State's going to need all hands on deck to stop this Notre Dame offense, because if you look at the NC State defense, it feels, again, a lot like the Arkansas game and the Boise State game. It's like, do they really have the pieces and the tools to stop Notre Dame and what Notre Dame is doing offensively right now? I don't know if really anyone on the rest of Notre Dame's schedule has that. And I'm looking at NC State's defense. It's like, okay, you have those 2 linebackers. Who else do you have? And I read your article, Jack, with Noah, and I transcribed all of Dave Doran's press conference. The defensive back situation is in a world of hurt. What are they down to? Like their 4th or 5th nickel?
They're down to their 5th nickel. So here's what happened. 2 got hurt before the season started, so they're out. 1 got hurt a couple games into the season, so he's out. Then they played a redshirt freshman at nickel for a couple games, and he did pretty well. Then the safeties all got hurt, and they had to slide him back to safety. So they're on their 5th nickel. I don't even know who would be Notre Dame's 5th nickel. I can tell you who'd be their 4th nickel. That would be Minnick. But 5th, I mean, you probably have to slide like Tay Johnson down there and play Knowledge at safety. Maybe you do that before Minnick, but hopefully for Notre Dame's sake, they don't have to find out, because they are in a world of hurt at the nickel position and the safety position. They're down. The big name mentioned was Brody Barnhart, redshirt freshman, who Noah said was hitting his stride. They have a couple good edge rushers, so it'll be a challenge for Knapp and Wagner. But the way those 2 are playing, I think they'll be up to it. It's going to be a big Will Pauling game, or Will Pauling and Jaden Greathouse if the latter is healthy, because the nickel situation. I don't think they're going to be able to play man with how much Notre Dame's rolling with that slot fade and how much they're hurting at nickel, which means you're going to see a ton of open lanes for Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. It's kind of pick your poison if you're NC State. Do you want to take your chances with Greathouse and Pauling, or do you want to take your chances with Love and Price? And it's really, really tough for them.
You know, so you'll see it against the zone defense from Notre Dame is a lot of quick stuff to Jordan Faison. I can guarantee you that.
A lot of Jordan Faison, a lot of Eli Raridan against zone for sure.
Which, by the way, I thought rewatching that Boise State game, I didn't love the Eli Raridan pass interference penalty. Like, I didn't think the Boise State defender should have been thrown back that much for, like, that happens all the time, doesn't it?
I can see why they called it, but I'm not a huge. I do like that they called that, and then they called the one where Gray got pushed, because that was about the same level of
I would actually argue that the Gray one was even less than the Raridan one, and I'm lobbying for the Raridan one to not be called. So yeah, you're right. Like, they were consistent.
If you're gonna call one, call both.
They're consistently bad, right? We could say that. I think the head coaches would agree. But anyway, like wrapping up the NC State thing, you can read our picks at the end of the week at blueandgold.com. But from the way that we've been talking here, me and Jack just now, I think you kind of know the way that we're going with this game. It's like the defensive improvement for Notre Dame is real. The offense is very real, and it's established that. I don't see the Wolfpack as a huge threat, unless it's you've been saying trap game a little bit, Jack. I've heard you say that a couple times.
If there is a trap game, it's this one, because you start to feel good. The season kind of stabilizes itself. Start looking forward to USC a little bit, and this NC State team is talented enough to make you sweat if you go with that mindset. I don't think they will, but I think if there is a game where they can fall victim to that, it's this one.
We discussed a lot last week on this channel, like if Notre Dame goes 10-2, is it a lock thing? I will bang my head on the wall to have that before I have that discussion again. But here's the better topic right now: will they go 10-2? Right? The previous discussion was assuming they do, but will they, Tyler? How good do you feel about that? Do you have a percentage you would throw on it? I know we talked about that earlier in the year.
100% for our guy in the chat.
There you go.
Jewel or whatever. I don't know. I can tell you that ESPN's FPI has a 42.5% chance that Notre Dame goes 10-2. And
wait, hold up. So 42%, but then I just found on Twitter 16.7% chance that they'd make the playoff, though. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a big disparity there. So it goes back to our conversation of if they do go 10-2, they are very much not a lock. But 42.5%, for perspective on that, it is the highest chance that any team has to win out according to ESPN's FPI. Miami is
conservative with that. Or the FPI
they are conservative with it
with that number, like win out percentage, because there's always the chance you get upset.
Yeah, but like it's conservative for everybody, right? Like everyone.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I would probably put it a little higher than 42, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that Notre Dame is so far and away in its own number class here, like the 42.5 matters less than the fact that technically they have a 13% higher chance than the next team to go win out. So like that's significant right there. That just tells you that ESPN thinks it's Notre Dame is by far the most likely team to win out. And now if you ask us, I was asked this question directly in my Hey Horka thread today or yesterday, and then I posted it today on the website. Like, is Notre Dame going to do this? Is Notre Dame going to go 10-2? And I said, talk to me on October 19th. And then somebody jokingly said, geez, they can win 7 more games in the next, 11 days or whatever. And I'm like, no, but my rationale here, Jack, is if Notre Dame beats NC State, which I do believe is going to happen, and Notre Dame beats USC, which, gun to my head right now, I'm picking the Fighting Irish to defend home turf and beat USC in a week and a half, then I don't see anybody on the schedule in November that's going to beat this Notre Dame team. And I know you posted a thought in that Hey Horka thread, like maybe this team, maybe that team, but like there's some gimmies in there in that month as well. And if Notre Dame is really rolling, we've been talking about momentum. Marcus Freeman admitted that it's real. He doesn't lean into it, but like it's real, it's there, it's helping. I think momentum carries Notre Dame to 10-2 if they win the next 2. I think that's what this kind of comes down to.
Yeah, no, like, to my comment on the board, like I see after USC, I see Stanford, Boston College, Syracuse as if Notre Dame loses that game, something has gone horribly wrong. Navy and Pitt are like, if it's not Notre Dame's best team, that game could be a little scary. Best game, I should say. That could be a little scary, but they still should win. But yeah, no, I'm in agreement. Like we said after A&M and Purdue, that if the defense doesn't improve, they're not winning out. As we talked about before on this show, the defense is improving, and I don't think there's a team that Notre Dame's gonna be favored by fewer than 10 points on the schedule. I think they're double-digit favorites against USC, regardless of whether the Trojans beat Michigan or not. I think USC hasn't won in South Bend since 2011. I would pick USC to lose to Michigan. I know that game would really help Notre Dame. We'll talk about that this weekend, but I'll believe USC can beat a ground and pound, play defense Big Ten team when I see it. Just kind of where that program's at right now. Notre Dame plays a similar style. They'll run the ball. They'll play defense. The rest of the schedule, like there's certainly no game I would pick against Notre Dame. And the way they're rolling right now, Ty, like you said, I think Freeman does enough to keep his guys focused for every game. We saw this last year. That approach can work again. I know they will bend over backwards not to talk about last year, but they need to take a similar approach where like every game's a Super Bowl. You can't let yourself get complacent, and I've seen nothing to indicate that they will.
Yeah, with USC, it's like the last 2 seasons, it feels like maybe not this one if they beat Michigan, but like last year, you had hopes that would be something at the end of the year for Notre Dame, and then it wasn't because USC went on a stretch of losing 4 or 5 games in the middle of the year. if they lose to Michigan, they will have lost 2 in a row before going into the Notre Dame game. And kind of agree with you there. Obviously, if they do lose that game, then it's a double-digit point favorite. But I'm interested to see what the odds makers and pollsters and whatnot think of USC if they win that game. Is that in Los Angeles or is it out here in the Midwest?
The Michigan game is in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, okay.
So that's why I'd give them a chance. Like if you look at last season, like they were horrible against Big Ten teams on the road.
Yeah. And here's another point that you made, like Marcus Freeman having these guys ready for every single game. That's why I'm not really worried about Navy. I think he learned his lesson in his first year as a head coach. Like if you take the foot off the gas against Navy, they will try to come back and beat you. We saw last year, Navy kind of gave it away last year. I know you were at that game, Jack. I was watching mostly on my phone in a car on the way back from a wedding, trying to get back to a place where I could work. And I did, but just watching I was like, geez, Navy, what are you doing? But from the flip side of that, I love that Marcus was like, hey man, they're kind of giving this to us, but make them pay for that. And Notre Dame did make them pay for that. So I don't worry about that one. There's no Steve Angeli revenge factor anymore. Notre Dame knows that Pat Narduzzi hates Notre Dame. I'm not worried about Pitt. I'm definitely not worried about Stanford. And Notre Dame's way better than Boston College. So yeah, I think Notre Dame goes.
College lost to Stanford.
Yeah. Now Notre Dame's not losing to Stanford though. Yeah, Boston College lost to Stanford, so that's a win.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. I got to apologize. I don't remember exactly where you wanted to go with this midseason stock report, Jack, but I will give you the floor, sir.
Just guys that we feel like are kind of on the rise right now and we feel like could take on bigger roles in the second half than the first half. I know they're not halfway through the season, but I figured this would be a good time for this topic since next week will be much more game preview heavy. But number one on my list, and I've talked about this earlier on the show, Traore is right there, man. He's at a point where like he's got the sack numbers, but you'd like him to be a more consistent pressure piece at this point. And I think with the way he's defending the run, like you can tell he's on the verge of something big. I think the pass rush as a whole, they really figured out, and this kind of goes back to figuring out their personnel, but like they're top 5 guys in pass rush snaps against Boise State. I'm not sure if this is the exact order, but I remember which 5 it was. Traore, Young, Heinisch, Viliamuasa, Botello. That should be it every single game. No more messing around with Jared Dawson as the rushing defensive tackle like they did in week 1. I still have no idea what that was all about. If it's a Tui Halamaka series, I'm sorry, Tui Halamaka. Traore is going to be Traore and Botello on the field 3rd and long. Maybe you can justify Tui Halamaka in for Botello every now and then, but Traore needs to be in every 3rd and long. You need to get your best guys out there for the rushing situations, and I think they did that against Boise State. We saw the results, so I think the pass rush as a whole, particularly Traore, is on the up.
I'll give you 2 players, one from each side of the ball, kind of in similar situations, even though they're in drastically different points of their careers. Start with the offense. Will Pauling. I know I pump his tires all the time on these shows, but hamstring injuries suck. And like, I'm not quite sure when Jaden Greathouse is going to get back. It doesn't sound like it's too significant, but you saw what Will Pauling did in his first opportunity to start a football game for Notre Dame this past weekend. Caught the touchdown, should have caught another touchdown, 2-point conversion. Jack, I completely forgot about, I think it was at the end of the first half, maybe Notre Dame ends up scoring anyway, but there's a play where CJ Carr kind of scrambled around and floated one through the back of the end zone. That could have also been a Will Pauling touchdown. He almost got his hands on that one. So he just kind of shows up around the football, and I'm not surprised because dude started his career at Cincinnati, 6 years ago, plays at Wisconsin, is Wisconsin's leading receiver a couple years in a row or right around there. Like,
I think this is year 5 for him, but
so he's a true 5th year. So 2021 was his. Yeah. Okay. 2021 was his. So yeah, true 5th year, but still like 3rd program, you could tell this guy is voted a team captain for a reason. So even if Greathouse comes back completely fine, as soon as this week with that hamstring thing, I think Will Pauling needs to find his 2, 3, 4 catches per game because he does good things with the football when he gets it. The other side, Devonta Smith, calf injury, soft tissue. You heard Marcus Freeman on Monday say, like, you got to take those things seriously. This isn't a ligament, stay off of it for 10 days, and all of a sudden it feels brand new type of thing. The soft tissue, it's kind of like the hamstring with Jaden Greathouse. You just don't know how those react and when they're going to recover. Dallas Golden is my guy, like stock up, because I just see him around the football too. I put it in our rewatch thread that there was a point there where Madsen missed his guy and it was an incomplete ball close to the Notre Dame sideline, 3rd and medium or so. I said, dude, even if he caught that, I'm pretty sure Dallas Golden is wiping that guy out into the sideline. Boise State has a 4th down decision to make. So I think he's sticky. I think he likes to make hits, but he'd also like to be a guy that's known for his coverage skills as well. And those are coming along and getting there. But you made the point earlier in this show that like Notre Dame realized that it has to be him instead of Carson Hobbs, and Notre Dame's been a lot better for that. So just the situations that they're in and like the way that they're progressing through this season, I really like Pauling, and I like Dallas Golden as well.
Thank you. On the other side, like Devontae Smith needs to get healthy at some point soon. I don't know. Besides USC, I don't know if Notre Dame's going to need Devontae Smith to make the playoff, but if they get there, they'll definitely need him. And then USC, you have Mekhi Lemon, who's been the most productive wide receiver in the country yards wise. Like even after USC's bye, he's still leads the country. Leads the Power 4.
Yeah, he's well over 100 yards per game.
Yeah, and here's a fun stat. Mekhi Lemon has, I think, 35 catches. The next highest guy is 13.
I was shocked to see that.
Yeah. No, he's a stud, and he plays 2/3 of his reps in the slot. So that's going to be a huge, like you can't have Leonard Moore line up in the slot 2/3 of the game. So you're going to need some of Devontae Smith, which is why, like, even if Devontae Smith can give it a go, like they're making the right decision by holding him out against NC State, because they badly need him healthy for USC. And I think he would be a difference maker going forward. But yeah, Dallas Golden's a freak athlete. I think Mark Zachary too. Like, I would like to see him get some reps in place of Gray and Moore in this game, because you need to develop him in case one of them goes down again, and B, you need those two to take some reps off so that they don't go down again. So he's a guy who I thought played much, much, much better against Arkansas than when he was in against Boise State. They didn't go after him nearly as much as teams have before. So against Zachary and Golden, those two guys clearly going to be fixtures in the secondary as starters down the line, assuming they develop on the path that they are now. But Notre Dame needs them to be big second half of the season.
Speaking of big, how massive is that USC Michigan game for Notre Dame? You would love if the Trojans win that game and then set up. I mean, what's USC's rank right now in the AP poll, Jack?
RV.
Receiving votes.
Yeah.
Not recreational vehicle.
Okay, well, they beat Michigan. You would assume they're
if they beat Michigan, they'll be ranked, correct?
Top 20, even. I mean, or right around there. So, yeah, that's a big one. Curious for your guys' thoughts on that matchup, and then what other games this weekend are big from a Fighting Irish perspective.
For what it's worth, they would be number 31 if the rankings extended that far.
Okay, I'll go with you, Jack.
Yeah, like I said earlier on the show, I need to see USC beat a Big Ten team that's tough and physical and likes to run the ball. Before I believe it, I should say. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. But the fact that this game's in Southern California really helps. And Bryce Underwood, from everything I've seen and heard, like there's nothing that says he's not going to be good in the future, but he hasn't exactly been great as a passer so far. So that should help struggling USC secondary. We saw what Illinois did to them, but it's USC. The defensive front is always a concern under Lincoln Riley every single year, and that's no different right now. You saw Illinois at the end of that game. Here's a crazy fact: Illinois, in its minute 55 drive to set up a game-winning field goal, they didn't complete a single pass. They marched down the field running the ball, and that's a huge concern against a team that thrives on running the ball as much as Michigan does.
I was just doing on paper for USC today, and like their pass defense is the one with all the terrible statistics. So the fact that their run defense couldn't hold up, I don't think they have a defense, which is very consistent with the Lincoln Riley era.
They're better last year, but yeah, it's not great.
The thing about, like, I'm looking at the schedule, I think it's still early to know exactly what to root for if you're Notre Dame. Like, you want USC to win that game, so next week's game is bigger, and then you have more cachet if you win that game. But, for example, like, do you want – I know what you want in this game, but do you want Alabama to take a second loss and then all of a sudden you might have a situation where it's been awesome that Notre Dame has been the highest-ranked two-loss team for all season now, right? But if Missouri beats Alabama in a close one in Missouri, is Alabama all of a sudden the highest ranked two-loss team? And then you start accumulating these teams with two losses, they might be ranked ahead of Notre Dame. So I don't know, but like that's one to look at if you're Notre Dame, right? Because you might have an at-large conversation with one or both of those teams at the end of the season. So I'd be watching that one.
That's one, if I could interject here. That's
ahead.
one where I feel like it's worth watching if you're a Notre Dame fan, but probably too early to know what your rooting interest is there because I think like down the line, that could be a game where you look back and if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're like, man, I wish that result was different, but I think it's probably too early to tell right now. Big game though, someone on our board pointed out also at noon. So the Mizzou game's on ABC, the ESPN game in that time slot, Pitt and Florida State. Pitt pulling off an upset there would be really big for Notre Dame because I think a lot of us wrote off Pitt when they lost to West Virginia. But that rivalry is weird every year. I don't really think we should count the Pitt West Virginia result in any evaluation whatsoever. And B, Pitt might have found something with that true freshman quarterback. I'm not going to remember his name off the top of my head, but Eli Holstein benched, and the guy that came as a true freshman, Pat Narduzzi, has been very high on. They have a talented roster. They got dudes on both sides of the ball, namely Kyle Lewis at linebacker, Desmond Reed at running back, who's also one of their best receivers. That's a talented team, and if they can knock out Florida State, it would officially eliminate another potential two-loss playoff contender. That would be Florida State's third loss, and B, there's a good chance Pitt would be 7-2 and ranked heading into that matchup against Notre Dame. So that's a huge game as far as Notre Dame is concerned. Also, Texas A&M has Florida, I believe. Yeah. You can fact check me on that, but that's obviously a Florida team, as you know well, Tyler. That's better than its record indicates. And if Texas A&M gets past that game, we'd start inching closer and closer to definitively saying, man, that team's for real. That's a playoff team. That's a potential bye team. And that's a team that's going to help inflate Notre Dame's resume.
Yeah, I think they're 5-0 for the first time in almost a decade, Texas A&M is. So, yeah, just don't do what Texas did last week if you're the Aggies, and you should be fine at home in that one. You mentioned, like, eliminating a current two-loss team that would be a three-loss team. I guess Oklahoma could technically do that to Texas, but, like, I'm curious. Like, Texas has only played one SEC game. All these teams have. The funniest thing ever would be to lose that game and then Texas goes on some crazy run and makes it to the SEC and makes things even more complicated. But if they lose that game, Jack, I'm kind of with you on the Florida State thing. Like, you're just not good. If you're 3-3, you're gonna lose. You're gonna be 7-5 or 6-6 or something like that. So
isn't that going to be a material-less Oklahoma team too?
Crazy reports. I don't know what to believe and what not to believe. He's playing 1 minute and then he's not the next. It's possible he plays. He just had hand surgery like 14 days ago. It's kind of crazy though.
Yeah, no, I'm not believing that. But who knows? I think didn't the state of Oklahoma proclaim a holiday for a surgeon or something?
Yeah. No, that guy's famous now. I see that guy's face everywhere. If you have two TVs, I would put that one on. Maybe Indiana, Oregon as well. Get 3 TVs for this weekend because
is that all in the 3:30 window?
That's all 3:30. Indiana, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas. Yeah.
And then after the Notre Dame game, we got Michigan, USC on NBC in the night window. You don't even have to change the channel.
Yeah. And then obviously I would take a peek at the Texas A&M game too if you're watching 2 games in the night window for sure.
TP Adams said I missed Soble Chicago flag.
Well,
me too.
Couple things there. The Bears are 2-0 since I took down that flag, so that's never coming back.
The Chicago Blackhawks are 0-1 though.
Yeah, they played the defending champs on the road. we're I don't think we're going to be good, but we're fine there.
Man, we went like 38 minutes without a Texas mention from Tyler Horka and There
What do you want me to do? We're talking about the games of the weekend.
And he mentioned Mizzou before I did, so that's good.
I've been mentioning Missouri all the time in the last 5 days.
That was legit though. That was a real Notre Dame discussion.
Wait, Jack, I have not heard from you about this, or mention it or anything. Horka's Missouri shout out / shade during the press conference.
That was a shout out or shade, and
it was hysterical is what it was.
I told Mike I don't know what it was either.
I was confused more than anything else. I don't know why he decided to pull that one out.
God,
I told Mike
the same thing. Funny.
I got up to the press box and I was like, I don't know what the heck I just did, Mike, but I did something.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what the heck you just did either.
It was hysterical. It was kind of one of those like things it just comes out of your mouth and you don't know why you said it, but you did. That was funny. That was a great press conference from a blue and gold representation standpoint. But I think half of the press conference room is blue and gold based on how many writers we have in there. But yeah,
kind of.
Good show as always. Anything you guys want to mention before we get out of here?
I can throw some shade at
right, Mike?
What's that, Jack?
How about Mitchell Evans, right, Mike?
Honestly, I'm happy. I'm happy the Dolphins lost. We're like one loss closer to cleaning house, and I really hope that they move the franchise to South Dakota for a year, just totally reset, and maybe they keep them. Just get them out of Miami. I think there's too many. I'm just so done with the Dolphins. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Horka?
Yeah, parting thought, and all the USC talk got me thinking about this, and I did on paper, which is a bear of an assignment. If you guys are subscribed to the magazine, I hope you're reading on paper every single week. We put it online too. But anyway, crazy stat. Remember when USC came to South Bend in 2023, Caleb Williams coming off of his Heisman year, they were 6-0, but they had just beaten Arizona in overtime like the week before that. Jack, we watched that at a Waffle House was that Louisville? Where were we?
Yes, that was Louisville. Yeah, we watched that at Waffle House.
Yeah. So, like, you knew maybe there was a House of Cards situation with USC.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Sure enough, Notre Dame just, like, smacks them. Since that game, Lincoln Riley USC record 13-12. Like, they're a 500 program. Since that game, Notre Dame 22-5. So, shout out to Marcus Freeman for, like, being that guy. Lincoln Riley, not that guy right now.
Since Caleb's Heisman season, they only have 2 ranked wins, which actually came in back-to-back games. It was the Holiday Bowl against Louisville and then the season opener against LSU. Those are the only 2 ranked teams they've beaten since Caleb's Heisman season.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not good.
Scott, thank you for the kind words. I had something and it is now escaping me. CJ Carr's on the thumbnail of this video. Did we mention Carr at all during the show? Surely we did, right?
We had to have mentioned Carr.
Yeah, I talked about
offense rewatch. Offense rewatch.
Okay, sure. Like surely we did, right? I mean, yeah.
It's like a Freeman press conference. Like, there's no way we finished it without a token CJ Carr question.
Justin ND Sniper. This is what made me think of it because you said it feels crazy having an offense we can truly be proud of. It's definitely in the 6 years I've been on the beat, it's like by far like just the most cohesive. It's like what the offense is like the opposite of what the defense was the first couple of weeks, where it's like, what the hell are you? It's like so like non-cohesive. Like that is the offense. It's just like that marriage of like the pass rush and the coverage. Like it's the complete opposite of that on the offensive side of the ball. Like it just seems to be completely humming. Like, yes, Carr has been great. And you don't want to like discount him by talking about how good the other positions have been, but like I think both things can be true. Like Carr's been phenomenal, but like this is the best receiver group we've seen in years. Obviously the best running back group we've seen in years. They're better than last year, and it's the same guys. It's just they're better because they're just older and wiser. And like Horka tweeted out, Price has improved so much just from like his ability to, read defenses and his inside running has been better than ever. And Love as a receiving threat is better. It's Raridan's been solid. O-line's gotten better. Like
you're giving out a lot of flowers right now, man.
What can I say? I'm excited over here. I got my flowers from your flowers article. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. All right. Well, if no one else has anything, we're going to end the show there. We will be live next at 1 p.m. tomorrow with our recruiting show. We'll have, our Notre Dame Football Insider video with myself, Horka, and Hanson. Really looking forward to that. Friday, we'll have 3 keys and a prediction with Tyler James. Post-game show Saturday, staff roundtable on Sunday, and then we'll do it. I'll post a tweet on Monday looking previewing our content, because we're gonna mix a couple things up. I got a concert to go to on Tuesday night that somehow, I don't know, man. My wife tells me I said I would go to it, but USC week I'm going to a concert, which is bizarre. But
what's the concert?
I can't say.
Really?
I'll tell you after we get up, but I can't say on air
because it's embarrassing, or
I just can't say.
Well, I'll be the judge of whether or not you could have said this when we hop off air.
It'll make sense. But anyways, I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you're just watching now, rewind, watch from the beginning if you missed anything. There's some really good stuff at the beginning of the show. Again, thank you all for watching or listening, and we'll catch you guys next time. Lizzo.